Hello, welcome to our final video in the Managing Parent Relationships series. This video is all about communication. So before you watch this video, you need to download the communication style profile quiz and complete that for yourself. There's a link in the YouTube comments box, or you can download from the class stream. Either version is fine. So, what we want to do here is identify what your preferred communication style is, which should hopefully help you to recognise other people's communication styles and allow you to adapt to help you communicate effectively in any situation. So, thinking about the scores that you've achieved in your little quiz, there are 4 different main types here. It might be that you are balanced across the 4 types, or that you lean more towards one than the other. I certainly very much lean towards style 2, spirited, and I found it really interesting when I looked at the descriptors here, particularly the section about personal space, which perfectly describes my office. Surprisingly, as there were no questions actually related to personal space in the quiz. So your style 1 communicator is direct. They drive the conversation. They are very decisive, they're quite direct, they don't always stop to say hello to people. They tend to be quite loud spoken, very formal. Firm handshake, and they will tend to keep a physical distance between the people they're communicating with. The style 2 person, that's me, very readily expressing opinion, quite persuasive and general, tends to exaggerate, lots of voice inflection, quite loud as well, and very enthusiastic handshake. Your style 3 person is considerate. They're more amiable, they're more of a listener, they use personal language, they speak a bit more slowly, they're a bit more patient, softer tones, gentler, will tend to go for a hug rather than a handshake. And finally, your style 4 communicator is systematic and analytical. They focus on details, are quite precise, they tend to avoid emotion, and have a bit of a poker face, a very controlled person. So thinking about the parents that you deal with now, try to identify their communication style. So for example, a style 1 parent is direct. They'll approach problems in a competitive way, wanting to achieve results and challenge their child. You can influence them by emphasising the opportunities that are being offered to them and their child, and they respond well to direct approaches. You can manage this type of parent by giving them responsibility, recognising the achievements and being very clear in defining your parameters. The style 2 parent enjoys change and thrives on being in the spotlight. They are optimistic, active and sociable, and they enjoy dealing with new people and new situations. You can influence them by emphasising the benefits of change and sharing new ideas. Stressing the excitement and emotion involved will get them on your side. So you can manage this type of parent by being flexible, by giving supportive feedback, and by using humour. Your style 3 parent believes in the importance of personal relationships. They're collaborative and supportive. So you can influence them by stressing the long-term worth of a solution, by emphasising your relationship with their child, and by asking for their help explicitly. You can manage this type of parent by giving them recognition for their ideas and providing them opportunities to work collaboratively with you, for example, including them in target setting. And finally, the style 4 parent, they like order, routine and detail. They prefer consistency over change, and they've got their child's best interests at heart. You can influence them by demonstrating a careful and cautious approach, and manage them by giving them time to make considered decisions with detailed plans. So you might want to give them the information in one meeting and then set up a later meeting to then come up with the actual plan of how you're going to go ahead. They'll respond really well to being given the time to think. Now, all these communication styles have strengths and positive characteristics, but from the perspective of managing parent relationships, I want to look at the potential trouble spots as well. So it's also worth recognising your own trouble spots, because recognising them is the first step to overcoming them. So the direct, the driver, they can be a poor listener. They tend to be quite impatient and they don't always listen to advice. They like to argue. The spirited, expressive person doesn't always listen to details. They do tend to exaggerate and generalise and can be quite dramatic. I'm laughing because this describes me very well. The systematic, analytical person, they can be too detail focused. They don't like criticism. They can be quite short and abrupt with others. And the considerate, amiable type, they don't like conflict. They will tend to give in quite easily, and they can be over emphatic on their feelings. So the insights that you've gleaned from the communication style profile quiz will be most useful if you think about them in terms of how effective your communication is now, and how you can improve communication with parents by highlighting your strengths and controlling your weaknesses. So there's some questions here that I would like you to think about now at the end of this video, just to help you capitalise on your communication style. What are the positive aspects of your communication style? So for me, it would be that I express my opinion quite readily and that I'm persuasive. Can you think of some examples of how these positive aspects have benefited you in a parent-teacher communication? I think that persuasiveness has always been a benefit to me in all my communications. What can I do to strengthen my positive aspects? How can I become more persuasive and share my opinions more helpfully? What aspects of my style might hinder the effectiveness of my communication with parents? So this is me not always listening to detail and tending to exaggerate. That doesn't go down well with certain types of parents. So it's being aware of what your trouble spots are and managing them in relation to the type of communication style of the parent that you're talking to. Are these hindrances verbal, paraverbal, body language, or personal space related? So think about where they fall and how you can deal with them. Your paraverbal would be your voice inflection, how loudly you speak, how animated you are, what tone you use. And then finally, what you can do to control or eliminate your hindrances. So a lot of this is to do with using your emotional intelligence and preparing yourself mentally for meetings and for communications with parents. Hopefully you found this useful and you'll be able to go on and use your communication style to its best advantage now that you're aware of what it is. Thanks for listening.